Scrapbooker. Today we're going to be talking about heroes. Those heroes in our life, whether it's superheroes that we love to follow on television or the movies, or those superheroes in our lives. They might be somebody that we really respect and honor, like maybe a superhero in our life, like a firefighter or a policeman or a military person. This weekend being the 4th of July weekend, I just wanted to do a shout out to all those who have served to protect our freedom. And to do an honor page is a little different kind of page for superheroes, but we're going to do that today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this next video on the Nifty Scrapbooker. And today we're talking about superheroes. So, we just went through the 4th of July, and there are many people in our families that might have been in the military and help us gain our freedom, and protect our freedom. So, we could do this as a superhero and put up pictures of military people. We could do this. What I'm doing this page for is my daughter likes to collect Marvel comic t-shirts. So these pictures that are going to go in these squares are going to be pictures of her in her t-shirts. So this is the first page, and we're going to completely do the second page. Now I've done a little bit of prep work for this second page, but first we're going to talk about the layout. And I'm using Kiwi Lane templates today, and we're going to be doing actually 4 photos on this page: a 3x3, a 3.5 by 3.5, and 2 4x4 photos. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this one in about 3/4 of an inch down, and then we're going to overlay this one on top of it all the way to the top of our 12x12 paper. Or we'll just cut this probably 3/4 of an inch longer is what we'll do with that one. We're going to have this one on the bottom, and that creates kind of the frame for our page. Now, I brought out 2 of these arrows. This is from the Arrows collection. It's Arrows number 3. This is from the Adventure collection, and this is the only arrow in that collection, but they fit together well. So what we're going to be doing with this is we're going to be tucking this one up under this second thing like this. We're going to be bringing this one down and tucking it under this one here. So what we're going to do is we'll take our larger photos and kind of showcase those. So we'll put a 4x4 there and have this arrow come out and point to it. We'll have this one come out and kind of at an angle, and we're going to have it point to that. We're going to bring our number 3x3 photo in and kind of under this one. We'll do our 3.5 by 3.5 and kind of tuck under that one. So there we go. That's the layout for our page today. Now, one thing I have done is I've already inked and cut out my letters for hero, because the other page says super, so this page will say hero. It'll dance along the top right here. We'll get those on in a little bit. I also cut out all our squares for our photos, photo mats, and they're all cut out and inked too. But what I wanted to do is show you how the Kiwi Lane is used a little bit, getting kind of a refresher, and show you how we do this. This is the paper I'm going to do my arrows. And I don't know if you can see in the camera that this is drawn on. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to take my handy scissors. These are my Fisker scissors. It has a spring action, so it makes it really good for this kind of fussy cutting that I'm doing. And we're just going to cut out an arrow here. And so what I love about this is so simple to do. It's just a little bit of tracing, a little bit of cutting, a little bit of inking, and you end up with this gorgeous page. And a couple more cuts here. There we got our first arrow done. And if we were going to do the substitution, what you would do is you could say, oh, there, that arrow's cut out. We'll put it off to the side. We'll throw this down in here, and there's our piece for this page. Okay? All right. Let's cut out our second arrow. Now, the second arrow, as you can see, overlaps some. So what I was able to do is I was able to fit it on a smaller piece of paper because I cut off some of the arrow. But we'll just cut out what we have drawn on here. Sorry about that phone call in the background. People don't understand that sometimes you're going to be on the phone. And it's a telemarketer, of course. And so we'll just continue cutting this out. Just to give you a hint, in the future, I'm going to be building a building where I'll have my own studio without phones. And we'll be able to do this in a little peace and quiet. So we're cutting out our second. And what I love about cutting is if you make a little mistake, the ink that you do on these papers will cover that mistake up. What it also does is this paper here is not solid core paper. So you end up with a little white edge because the background is white on it. And that will actually ink that in so you can't see the white. All right, so let's just go ahead and do that distress ink. The distress ink I'm using today is by Tim Holtz, and it's the Vintage Photo. So it's kind of a classic photo, old photo look. So it's kind of in the brown tones. So we're just going to go ahead and ink this in. It doesn't show up huge, but once you put it on the page, it will show up. And this nice thing about this is if you didn't cut off your pencil lines, this will mask the pencil lines too. So I hope everyone had a good 4th of July. We certainly did. Since I'm tucking these in, I'm not going to be inking the bottom of the arrow. Down here, there's no use inking it because it's going to be hidden anyway. You just want inked what you're going to actually be seeing. And there we go, one arrow inked. Now see, you might not be able to see it a whole lot, but look at the difference between these two arrows. See the difference between the inked and not inked? That's fantastic. And it creates some depth and dimension on your paper. Gets rid of that white line from not being a solid core paper. Remember, we'll come down here, but we're not going to ink the bottom because this one's going to be tucked behind too. That's what I like about layering paper, is you can actually tuck it underneath each other, overlap things. We overlapped our photos in this layout. We're overlapping our borders and even our accessory, what I would call accessory, like this arrow here. All right, there's our arrows cut out. All right, now let's go to we have that cut out, we have these cut out. So we set those aside. We have this arrow cut out and inked, so everything's cut out and inked except for these pieces here. So let's get out our papers. Now, if you were with me a few months ago, I did a piece on a haul I did, and I got this superhero paper. Let's turn it around here. And so this is part of the superhero paper I was able to get my hands on. And so this is what this looks like. And there's one of the superhero papers. And there's just a solid core green that I'm going to be using today, which will go along with these colors really well. Now, if you noticed from the first page, I took this little tree here and replicated it just by freehand and made it to kind of fill in a section here. So that was why that tree was in there, because it was in actually a print on the paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our cutter, and I found my box from recently moving. I was missing a box, and I found my good cutter here. So we're just going to cut off this way from the last one we made. Put it on the line it up there. Oops, I slid my paper. There we go. And now you can use this. This is really small. I cut it really small, so I'm probably not going to reuse this piece of paper. But if you wanted to, you could do it further down and reuse it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing that on these papers that I have here. So we'll do this one as well. So we have a straight line for our paper. And there we go. And now the easy cutting is done. Well, it's all really easy cutting. It's not very difficult. So, oh, we forgot to cut this one. Let's go ahead and cut this one. This one, when it's cut, it'll be finished. Because I already have the other side on the other page. So this will just be able to be cut with a straight line and be done. And we're done with this piece of paper. So this is actually this part right here. So there's our one there. Okay, let's get these cut out. And we'll get these cut out and inked. This is actually the Aspen Court border set. And it's for 12 by 12 paper. The nice thing about it is you could use it for 8.5 by 11 books as well. And so what I use is I use the Aspen Court set. And I used all 6 pieces from that set. That'll go right there. And then I also used the Adventure line, an arrow from the Adventure line, an arrow from the Arrow line. Those are from the accessory lines. And I used some of the photo blocks from Photos and Photo Mats. Or mini photos. Photos and mini photos. So I didn't use any photo mats. I used the photos actually as my mats this time to make a little smaller pictures. So I could get more pictures on the paper. And here we are. We're going to be finishing this piece of paper. This one has a lot more curves. But like I said, remember, your inking covers a multitude of sins. That's why it's nice to ink, especially when you're hand cutting stuff out. And it creates the dimension. And if you didn't see any of my other videos, I have a whole video on creating dimension with ink on your page. So, and that one goes down here. All right, let's get these inked and then we'll put together our page because we'll have all our elements done. Then we're still using the Distress ink from Tim Holtz, the vintage photo. And I always find these borders are a little easier to ink. They go quickly than small stuff. So this is our boulder. You know, I usually do the process of have something with stripes, have something with dots, have something that has a wild and crazy pattern. You know, that kind of rule of thumb that I use on my pages. Now this page didn't give me that capability. So what I did is I found something with a wild, crazy print on it, like this one here. And I paired it with a subtle or crazy print and a solid. So it doesn't, even though your print is, there's a lot of print on this page, it doesn't overwhelm the page. And because I use that bright dark green for the photo mats, it will help the photos stand out amongst this busy scene. All right, that one's done. And we'll get our last one. And then we'll get our background paper and start gluing stuff down. I wanted to just kind of show you the step-by-step process because sometimes I skip up the process to show you a specific skill in doing this. And today I decided just to show you the back to the basics and show you how to do a whole layout page. And I wanted to take you from the concept of how we lay out our templates to see what we want to do, all the way to cutting them out and putting them on. Now I did save a little bit of time. I didn't want this to be a 45-minute video. And there we go. Our last order is inked. We'll set those aside right now for a second because we have a background paper. This is a fun superhero. Look at that print on that side. So that's the side we're not using. This was double-sided paper. This is the background paper that we decided to use. So, a couple rules when inking. Number one, we're going to make sure we put this down first. Now this can be inked all over. because, taped all over. We're just going to throw some pieces of tape on the top and the bottom just to give it a good run. Couple in the middle. Make sure that stays down on there. I'm going to go ahead and apply this to the paper. Sorry if I get my head in the way. And there we go. Now this one, we know we're going to be tucking underneath this piece of paper here, that arrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to go across the top. I'm going to leave a little hole where I think that's going to be done. And I'm going to just tape down this side. Now I don't have to worry about taping down this side as much, except for that one little piece of tape I put at the very, very tip top. Because we just needed to hold it long enough to get into the sleeve for our scrapbook. Now this one I'm going to be tucking, but we're just going to tape the bottom, the flat side. As you can see, this was a flipped over page 2 that we got. So because we only taped the bottom, very bottom of the paper, we don't have to worry about not being able to get our arrow in. Okay, now let's just kind of scatter this stuff around and we'll see how we're going to overlap. And now we need to plug in our arrows, see if our arrows will fit where we want them to. Bring this over there. Look at that. I was able to tuck that in without any problem. Let's see. You can see I'm able to tuck this in without any problem too. So we'll just kind of play with the arrangement here. Make sure it's all on the paper. And I'll start with something that's not going to move first. So we're going to start with this block here. Find my ink. And see what I can do later is that I can just bring this in and I can drop in my photographs. Just trim them a little smaller than these blocks and drop in my photographs. Then we'll plop in our arrow here. Now I like to sometimes pull it off because I use this tape runner and the points of the arrow are very important to get. So I kind of like tape a little bit on my desk. It just rubs off later. It's no big deal. But that will ensure that this arrow stays in there. Okay, let's get this arrow right where we want it. There we go. Now it popped out of the bottom of the page a little bit. That's easy. We're just going to trim that with scissors in just a minute. Let's see. All right, let's go ahead and do this one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one a little different. I'm not going to do the edges because my edges are what overlap. The other ones underlap on it. So I'm going to do the 4 edges here. So I glued here, 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 and here. That way when I bring this photo, which I'm going to be doing the corners on, I can tuck it up under, see that? And drop in my photo. And that will be able also when I go to do my photographs, I will be able to tuck my photographs under there as well. And we'll tape that one. And we'll get that in there. Make sure it's on the all on page. There we go. So this is our foremost, and we have our last piece here. I'll bring it off my table here and get the tips of the arrows really good. And a couple down. Okay, all right, let's get this one anchored in here. Get this underneath here. Just lift it up a little bit, and there we go. We'll tape that down. There we go. Now only left we have is our hero. We forgot about the word, didn't we, almost? So what we're going to do is we're going to be overlapping these as well. So what I'm going to be doing is we're going to be putting the H down first. We're going to have them dancing along the way. Then we're going to take our R. We're going to put the R down second. I use the alphabet punch board by We Are Memory Keepers. That's what I use to make these letters. We're going to put it at the same angle, okay? Just a little bit over. There, like that, okay? Then we're going to bring our E in here. I find that the mini alphabet punch board is great. Let's see, we're going to be overlapping this. There we go. And our O. Is great to do like titles for scrapbooks. And we'll put the angle. There we go. And let's see if I can get it all here on the board. So we have our superhero layout page. Isn't that great? And see, if you see the line here goes across. The line here comes down and around and goes across the page. Same way with this one, comes down and moves up. So that's the nice thing about designing with Kiwi Lane, is you can have this consistent fluid layout that makes it look like it's all part of the page. And the center of your page is all these photographs. So I hope you had an enjoyable time watching me today, and we'll see you next time on The Nifty Scrapbooker.